Good evening, Matt.
Should Sunderland have suspended Johnson when the allegation was first made?
I think that's a good question, and there's always the obvious immediate answer that you would say yes, of course, but sometimes we need to know some more of the facts behind these things, because we do have obviously the presumption of innocence until proven otherwise in this country, thank God, as we should. And unless we knew exactly what they knew, I think that would depend or determine whether or not they took the right action. But given the seriousness and given the fact that he apparently told the boss, I mean the managing director or the chief exec at the football club, the whole story, that's the line that's been given, then it's hard to see how they could justify carrying on playing him in the public eye. Very difficult.
Because he then went on to admit
yes.
to 2 charges,
yes.
including grooming.
Yes.
What can be done to stop things like that possibly happening, if anything?
Well, we've discussed this dreadful issue of child abuse in all its forms on many occasions, Matt. And, I think it's also an opportunity at the moment to reach out to clubs like Sunderland Football Club and to the other clubs and to ask them to contact a charity like ours, like NAPAC. We could come along and we can talk to them. We could come and talk to their players. Because sometimes I'm wondering whether or not they really understand the devastating impact that these crimes have on the victim. And, all day long I've been hearing about Adam Johnson and other past offenders. But the people who are forgotten mostly tend to be the victims. And I think Sam Allardyce did the right thing by saying that his thoughts, first and foremost, are with the victim, because often he or she, in this case she, is forgotten.
And we did hear from her yesterday through a police officer saying her self-confidence had disappeared.
Yes.
And she was a huge Sunderland fan, a big
yes.
fan of Adam Johnson.
Yes.
Which brings in the wider question about these people who are idolised,
yes.
people who are everyday parts of our lives, people like Jimmy Savile,
yes.
We've talked about before.
Yes.
Is there still this mystique surrounding people? Because people in all walks of life can be bad eggs.
I mean, the vast majority of footballers do not display this kind of behaviour. Let's be clear on that one. And the sort of amounts of money that some of them earn, I guess they begin to feel that they are perhaps untouchable and that they can do anything. But at the end of the day, people who are in that position, Premier League footballers, anybody in the public eye, they have an added responsibility to never violate those boundaries, because they're inevitably going to attract youngsters that come for them for autographs and attention, but you don't go there.
Just briefly, Peter, plenty of footballers have been convicted in the past, served sentences and come back to play. In Johnson's case, he's being sentenced in a couple of weeks. We don't know how long he will get. If he can still come back and play football, should he be allowed to come back and play football professionally?
That's not for me to say. The man has already accumulated in wealth, probably more than most of us would earn in a lifetime. So whether he'll need to come back and play football, I don't know, but that's down to the individual clubs. And it also, for me, it would be down to whether or not he has, in any sense, shown remorse and been rehabilitated.